I'm going to quickly kind of define my thoughts on working for smaller enterprises versus larger Fortune 500 companies. When I say smaller companies, they might actually also be Fortune 500, but they won't be the gigantic companies where they have 100,000 employees or 60,000. I'm thinking more companies with like a smaller footprint, 2 to 10,000, something like that. Not necessarily startup, but also not a tech giant. Um, when it comes to and I'm drawing from my own experiences. When it comes to Fortune 500 companies versus smaller companies, I have found that there is absolutely no true comparison that can be made. Um, Everyone's experience is going to be different, and while I don't have much to say on the matter, because the short answer is really there's no difference, and it's also there's tons of differences. But at the end of the day, I think the only honest answer I can give you is really it depends. That's if you had to end the podcast right here, right? Small company versus Fortune 500, or giant company, it would really be it depends. And I find that a little humorous. I also find that a little scary because this is a comparison where you can look at the data, you can look at different experiences, and the results are just all over the place. There is no true answer. Um, but I will still dive into my experiences, and just a little caution. My observations are extremely haphazard for the reason that a lot of companies I've been at just they follow no pattern. So I've worked for small companies where there's tons of resources for IT. There's good practices, good alignment, good work culture. Employees are sort of empowered in the sense that there's no micromanagement. And if you want to work, you can work. And if you want to, pursue opportunities, that company will, allow you to do that or help you with that. Just all around great experiences. And I've worked for Fortune 500 companies where, believe it or not, you would think that they have their stuff together. They're really held together by duct tape. There's no, code review, or there's no standards being followed. If you want to transfer, there's like a 6 year wait. Management really doesn't know what they're doing. It's all just a power trip. And employees who want to pursue an opportunity at a giant company are being told no, there's no money, versus smaller companies where they might be told there is money. So you would think larger company, more resources, but you'll find IT does not have a lot of resources. IT is an afterthought. IT is sort of just a blip, on their P&L statements and nothing more. So surprisingly, you would think bigger company, deeper pockets, and you'll find out that's really not the case. And then you have smaller companies where you think, they might be a little bit more financially strapped, but they have the priorities in order. So IT is actually well endowed and well funded, and everything is in order. So, people's expectations would be the opposite, where the larger company is the way to go. But I want to preface, I've also seen the exact opposite. I have seen small companies where they're the ones with financial problems. They can't hire employees. They can't retain employees. It's a constant revolving door at the hiring, at the hiring office. They don't know what they're doing. Everything is just being outsourced to contractors because they don't have talent. Management is just, doing a handstand, and there's no clear direction or even hierarchy. And then likewise, I've worked in gigantic companies where everything is a lean machine. People have good, leadership. Employees are working collaboratively. They're not siloed. If anyone needs, time off or vacation, they're not micromanaged. So I have seen everything true and false for the big companies. I've seen everything true and false for small companies. So if you're ever online and you're trying to make a comparison, I can tell you, just based on my background, it's always going to be, it depends. You probably already know that. You've probably already done research if you're considering whether you want to join a large company versus a small one. But it really frustrates me because I'm a data person. I like to see patterns. I like to see things that I can predict. And my experience having worked across the spectrum is that you really never know what you're going to get. It's always about getting the right boss, the right team, the right company at the right time, in the right department. So many things have to line up for it to work out. And if even one thing doesn't line up, it doesn't matter, small company, large company, you're going to be in for a bad time. So that's just my quick commentary on small companies versus large companies. If you're ever considering different careers, you have multiple offers, which good for you, and you're thinking, larger company for the stability. Again, it depends. You're looking at the small company and thinking, will they be here in the long term or are they safe? They actually could be. So do your own research, look at the reviews online, but don't ever let size dictate your decision. And likewise, don't ever let it, set your expectations that you think you're going to be walking into some sort of Google modern HQ. I've seen big companies with, IT is in the basement and they have asbestos. I've seen small companies where they're leasing me a really, really fancy, office with you know, glass from the ceiling to the floor. So it truly is hard to tell. When it comes to opportunities, size does not matter. You have to look at a whole list of other things before you can make an informed decision. Don't just go based on the perceived stability of the company, or what you expect in terms of resources, because you have no idea what you're going to find.